So maybe before looking live at the CLI, it's good just to talk through some of the main differences between navigating from operational mode into what Junos calls configuration mode, and compare that to what we know already from iOS. So you can imagine we have some Junos host, we want to log into, we're going to SSH, telnet, and as soon as we give username, password, prompt responses, we expect to find ourselves logged in at our username at some hostname prompt. And maybe the important bit here is that at the end of that prompt, we're going to see this greater than symbol. In Junos, that definitely means that we're in operational mode. I mean, iOS, we're thinking maybe, okay, I need to type enable, I need to escalate my privilege level. But in Junos, that greater than prompt is simply telling us, okay, you're in op mode. In iOS, like I said, we might be going to enable next, increase our privilege level, allow us to do more on the command line. In Junos, what exactly user X can do with this operational prompt is determined by the user's class. So we're going to look at that later, but for now, let's just imagine every user we've configured has a class and is automatically inheriting the privileges, the rights that that class has associated with it. Okay, so we could run a bunch of operational mode commands now. We could show the version, show the active config, show the status of interfaces. But let's imagine the next thing we do is go from operational mode into config mode. Now, we can achieve that in one of three ways. We could just simply type configure. If we type configure, we're going to be creating a candidate configuration, something that's not currently the configure the box. We can change in, however we wish, change with hundreds of add, delete, set commands, whatever we want. And when we're ready, we choose to commit that configuration. But, maybe a problem with that is that if another user and another user log into the box at the same time, and each of them type configure, they're going to be sharing that single candidate config file. So just to review, we have three options we said, this standard configure, shared candidate mode if you like, and then maybe our best practice that I think we should all be trying to ingrain as a habit for ourselves, we're going to prefer to type configure space private. And that's going to take us into config mode, but each user is now going to get their own private candidate file. Change it in any way they wish without affecting the current running configuration. And at the moment they're ready, they're going to commit. And they're only going to commit the changes they've made to their private candidate file. So this 99% of the time is how we want to enter configuration mode in Junos. Another last option that we can look at later in the CLI is configure exclusive. The name's a bit of a giveaway. You can well imagine that if we configure exclusive, we're going to create a candidate that we can edit, and it won't go into effect. Whatever changes we place there will not be the active running config until we type commit. But we're going to be holding, as that user, an exclusive lock on the box, or an exclusive lock on the configuration of the box. If another user logs in, tries to edit the configuration, they're going to get an error message telling them that the config database is locked, and, well, the only way to fix that would be either for me to finish and log out, or for another user with privilege from operational mode to request that I'm logged off, kill my session effectively and release that exclusive log. Anyway, we've, let's say, done this configure private, our best practice. And we now hope to see that the prompt has changed. We're still going to see user at hostname of the router. But now we hope that at the end of the prompt, we see this hash mark. This is telling us, reminding us, oh, we're in config mode. And above our prompt where we're typing, we're going to have a banner in these squared brackets. Okay, the banner will begin by simply saying edit, reminding you again in configuration mode you can edit the candidate, but also telling you that you're at the top. If you're at the top of that candidate configuration, then it just simply says edit. Maybe the next thing we do is enter this configuration mode prompt something like edit interface X, here GE123, and when we hit enter, we're going to see that the prompt above our banner is refreshed and changed. Okay, so now it's reminding me I'm still in edit mode. I'm still changing my candidate config. But this time it's telling me precisely which interface I'm in. Now, if this was iOS, we would know we were in config mode. We'd be seeing something like host name, config. Oops. And if I typed in some interface name here, that might transition to tell me that I'm config for an interface at the same host, but it kind of leads me to guess where I am. I know I'm configuring an interface, or it reminds me if I'm configuring a line or a routing protocol, but not, which line or which routing protocol or which interface. So some similarities, but, Junos is being a bit more helpful here for us. You can imagine now underneath that particular part of the candidate configuration, we can set something, delete something, make whatever changes we wish, still not affecting the active running configuration. And when we're ready, we're going to type commit. And that'll push that candidate into the active running config at that moment. I mean, also here we see that maybe we have more to do. Maybe we're going to configure that one interface and we want to go back to the top of the configuration tree. In iOS, you end up typing exit, exit, exit to jump back up your kind of configuration hierarchy. In Junos, we make life a little bit simpler. You could type exit, but probably better to type top, jump immediately from this position, back up to the banner telling us, okay, you're at the top of the configuration tree, just simply telling us edit in the banner, and we're ready to carry on with our configuration. Let's have a look at some examples.